Masks and free at-home COVID tests are coming back. Just ahead, we'll tell you where you'll have to mask up and how to get your hands on those free COVID test kits.
Dialysis workers striking in the Bay. What are they asking for? What is their employer saying? And did their patients get their life-saving treatments? We'll have answers just ahead.
And all things national. Madison Wilbur launches her new national news segment, Minute with Madison. Those stories and more on this week's Update News.
School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Larry Larkin.
And I'm Alejandra Vaca Sotelo. We begin with a return to wearing face masks. The mandates are coming back, at least to some Bay Area hospitals. It's happening as the number of COVID-19 cases is on the rise. Reporter Denise Velasco has that story.
Santa Clara County hospitals and clinics were first out the gate. The county ordered mandatory masking in healthcare facilities back in March. Now a spike in COVID cases means Santa Clara may have company. The COVID-19 surge in Bay Area counties is causing many hospitals to place new mask mandates. The counties of San Mateo, Sonoma, Alameda, and Contra Costa just issued new orders. The new mandates will require healthcare workers to wear masks in indoor settings as of November 1st.
I believe it's good for everybody. It'd be safe. Just a lot of us opt to still wear a mask, even if it wasn't mandatory. So I think it's a good idea that everybody wears a mask.
Besides hospitals and clinics, college students worry that being in a highly populated setting potentially makes them more vulnerable.
COVID-19 is still really popular right now. Even you have a vaccine, but you still can got it even if you got a vaccine. So I think mask is important right now.
That uptick in the virus is making some wonder whether mandatory masking might just be around the corner for everyone, not just healthcare facilities.
When it comes to healthcare, it's very important for them to have the mask mandate inside of the hospital or when visiting, because the germ will grow faster. You bring it in from the outside, you give it to them, and then it's transferred to the patient.
In Willow Glen, I'm Denise Velasco, Update News.
As the COVID numbers spike, the federal government is spending some $600 million to make COVID test kits available again for free. And there's new information out there about how some older test kits might still be good long past their expiration dates. This week, the Biden administration relaunched its free at-home COVID test website. It is just in time for fall and winter, when the virus usually spreads at higher levels. The tests are part of a three-part program to stem the tide, including vaccine boosters and
widely available at-home COVID tests, right? I talked about the different tools that this administration has been able to put forward. Widely available effective treatments, which can reduce the risk of severe illness, hospitalizations, and death.
The Centers for Disease Control says COVID hospitalizations have been creeping up for the past 9 weeks straight, an increase driven by the newer strains of the virus. When the free test program ended in May, many insurance companies stopped covering the cost of COVID tests. That made it hard for people with little income or few transportation options. But now, the federal government is providing more than 755 million at-home tests through a partnership with the United States Postal Service.
I do find that the COVID tests at home, because I do get them mailed to me. So I feel like it is better for people that are, that can't go to the store or are sick. So it's easier, as in they don't have to run out and get other people sick.
The new tests will be able to detect the most recent COVID-19 variants and are intended for the use through the end of this year. The Food and Drug Administration is also extending the expiration dates for several over-the-counter COVID tests. So if you have some tests lingering at home, don't throw those away just yet.
I think they come in handy to anybody that finds themselves dealing with the sickness. Say it's quick to grab and it lets you know fast if you have COVID or not.
You can order for a test for your home. Just go to covidtest.gov. There is also a link there to the FDA website that will tell you which older tests are being extended and how long the test kits are slated to start shipping next week.
Some dialysis workers launched a 2-day strike in the Bay Area. The workers are asking for better wages and working conditions. Reporter Madison Wilbur talked to both the workers and the company they work for.
Over 500 dialysis caregivers are striking against their employer, Satellite Healthcare, against what they claim to be unfair labor practices and intimidation.
The workers unionized earlier this year. Now the members are asking their employer, Satellite Healthcare, to negotiate a better salary and better working conditions. The workers are asking for a minimum of $25 an hour to keep up with the cost of living. They're also asking the company to hire more staff and to respect their voice when they advocate for their patients' quality care. The workers say without those things, management is putting staff and patients at risk.
One small mistake could be fatal. They have some of us making $17 an hour.
Clinics is understaffed. Anything that can go happen. You can have hypertension, blood pressure, high, cramping, and so many other things that could happen.
In a statement to Update News, a spokesperson for Satellite Healthcare says patients are getting their life-saving treatments during the work stoppage, and the company denies the workers' allegations. While we dispute the union's claims about Satellite, we respect the rights of these striking employees to engage in lawful union activities and are in discussions with the union. 99% of workers voted in favor of this unfair labor strike. Alongside their voicing of being understaffed, employees are saying they are being threatened and intimidated by their managers due to forming a union.
She threatened our jobs. So that was another charge of unfair labor practice. There's been a lot of intimidation.
The strikers say this is just the beginning as more technicians, nurses, and schedulers join the cause.
More strikes are planned throughout October statewide.
Okay.
In San Jose, this is Madison Wilbur, Update News.
There were a few scary moments on the San Jose State campus Wednesday. Hundreds of students and faculty members had to be evacuated when smoke alarms went off inside the business tower. It happened at the Lucas College and Graduate School of Business around 10:30 in the morning. University police say a fire began in a trash can in a third-floor bathroom. It was a small fire, but the smoke filled the building. San Jose firefighters arrived and put the flames out.
There's a lot more news happening around the country. In our brand new segment, Minute with Madison, reporter Madison Wilbur brings us up to date.
Welcome to Minute with Madison. Let's begin. President Joe Biden arrived in the Bay Area on Tuesday to attend some campaign fundraising events as election season approaches. On Capitol Hill, some House Republicans are pushing for a government shutdown amid a dispute over the nation's budget. The Federal Trade Commission, the U.S. agency that protects the public from unfair business practices and competition, is suing Amazon, accusing it of wielding monopoly power. Meanwhile, the Justice Department is suing Google for allegedly monopolizing digital advertising technologies. A tropical storm named Ophelia has flooded parts of the East Coast and is now moving closer to the nation's capital. In the Pacific Northwest, an atmospheric river storm has hit, bringing heavy rain that might help put an end to this wildfire season. Staying on the West Coast, California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed multiple bills focusing on the state's protection for LGBTQ+ people and youth. And in other gubernatorial news, Newsom and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis have agreed to debate on Fox News in November. Stay tuned. That's your national news in a minute. I'm Madison Wilbur.
When we come back.
Just ahead, on this year's Parents Weekend, we asked SJSU parents how they feel about the upcoming tuition hike. Turns out, it isn't terribly popular.
Then we'll take you along with hundreds out to improve the environment. They turn out to help pick up tons of trash before it hit Bay Area waterways.
Want to know how to prepare for this weekend's weather? Stay tuned to find out. California Governor Newsom is calling on the U.S. Supreme Court to let cities clear homeless encampments. A Circuit Court ruling struck down anti-encampment ordinances. Newsom says that decision prevents cities from removing homeless encampments that often take over streets and public sidewalks. The California League of Cities and law enforcement agencies are also weighing in. One legal brief says business owners, taxpayers, and children have a right to clean, safe, and drug-free streets, but advocates for the homeless say cities should focus instead on expanding housing for the homeless.
San Jose's animal shelter has a big problem. It's overrun with too many animals, mostly cats. The latest head count at the Animal Care Center on Monterey Road was more than 900. That's a record high. The shelter was built to accommodate about 500 animals. Critics blame poor management. They also claim fewer cats are leaving the shelter alive.
An inspiring local documentary highlights a running program that is changing lives for the better. Why is that newsworthy? It's because the runners are inmates behind bars at San Quentin. Reporter Levern Johnson gives us a sneak peek at the film that highlights some of those changed lives.
Don't let them get down in my lap.
All year long, some of the inmates at San Quentin State Penitentiary train for the prison's 26.2-mile marathon. They are part of the 1,000-mile club that started inside the walls. The men train with coaches and share running advice, training techniques, and race tactics. 26.2 to Life is a local documentary detailing the road to redemption for 3 prisoners. Men like Markel Taylor, who qualified for the Boston Marathon and has since found his way to freedom.
Why should they let me out? Because I've changed. My goal is to run under 3 hours, maybe qualify for Boston. Here, be the first one to do that.
I sat down with the director and producer of the film, Christine Yu. She says some of the men are winning the race, even though they may never get their freedom back.
The way that I wanted to go about it was really focusing on what does it look like to live life with a life sentence. That was my main question.
Dying a loser, wasting my life. These are my greatest fears. Inspired a passion to me to do whatever I can, even if I never go home, to be the best me I can be and have some kind of positive contribution to society.
Now, coaches include Jim Maloney, who is a restorative justice facilitator at the prison.
They really do feel like we're parents, mentors, friends. They feel like we're a connection to the outside, and I'm all too happy to provide that connection.
Even the former San Francisco District Attorney, Chesa Boudin, signed on as a volunteer.
Friends, people I know from the community are involved in the club, and they invited me to join. So it was really the film that inspired me to join the club after it was already made.
If you want to be inspired, you can catch these men's journey as they strive to transform their lives. Virtual screenings will be available this weekend until the 1st. You can get a ticket at their website, sanquentinmarathon.com. I'm Levern Johnson, Update News.
Every year, dedicated volunteers sign up to help in a massive trash pickup along California's coast. Their goal is to get it all cleaned up before the rain washes the trash out into the Pacific. This year, they collected tons of waste.
Hundreds of Bay Area volunteers flocked to the California coast early on a Saturday morning. They are giving up part of their weekend to help in the 39th annual California Coastal Cleanup Day. The idea is to pick up trash before it makes it into waterways that feed the San Francisco and Monterey Bays. Jim Bell is a member of the board of directors for Valley Water. He spoke to me about why picking up trash is important and what happens if we don't.
If we don't pick up the trash, plastics get into the bay and then into the ocean, and that's very, very bad.
So how did it go? The California Coastal Commission says more than 1,100 volunteers showed up here in Santa Clara County alone. They were spread over 52 cleanup sites. They collected some 24,000 pounds of trash and 3,500 pounds of recyclables.
I hope that it will directly impact the animals and the plants that are growing here, but also just in general to help clean up the city and help prevent the pollution from spreading.
I spoke to a volunteer who hopes to make San Jose cleaner.
I hope by the time we finish, I'll feel like we contributed to making San Jose a little bit cleaner.
Statewide, the cleanup numbers are still coming in. Trying to make plans for this weekend? Alejandra Vaca Sotelo has this weekend's weather forecast.
Hi, this is Alejandra Vaca Sotelo with your 7-day forecast. So what can you expect for the next 5 days? We have some midweek warming with in the 80s, and we also have some more likely wind conditions on Friday and Saturday. So if you're going to be out on the road, please be careful. And then with some possible Sierra showers with elevations of 8,000 feet. And then for your extended outlook, our future cast shows things staying dry until we approach Friday, where showers will be possible mainly to the north and east of the Bay Area. There is a good chance for snow at times above 8,000 for the Sierra, although closer to the Bay Area we'll likely see more wind and less rain chances. And for your 7-day outlook in Santa Cruz shows midweek warming temperatures mostly in the 70s before winds increase into the start of the weekend. And in Oakland, you can seeing mostly temperatures with warming midweek, then more clouds and breezy conditions Friday and Saturday. And in San Francisco, we'll see slightly warmer temperatures as well, then potential wind and potential winds into the start of the weekend. And here in San Jose, we'll see more sunshine and some warming through the midweek, and then warming for also for the weekend, and you have some potential winds as well there. And that is it for your 7-day forecast. Back to the desk.
When we come back.
Coming up in sports, we head to the Cefco Stadium to see how the Spartans did in their first Mountain West matchup.
A marathon in prison. Coming up, meet the real-life characters featured in a new documentary about rehabilitating prisoners through running. That's just ahead.
We turn to sports now with this question. Did Spartan football bounce back after last week's tough loss to Toledo? Reporter Levern Johnson is here with that answer.
Yes, that was a tough loss, but the Spartans headed home to take on the Air Force Falcons. Here's a look at the matchup.
San Jose State football went into the half leading the Air Force Falcons after senior running back Kyrie Robinson scored a 1-yard touchdown. But again, the Spartans couldn't get anything going for themselves in the third quarter. Senior Air Force running back John Lee Eldridge scored 2 second-half touchdowns, but Falcons teammate and senior Emmanuel Michael was the star of the night, scoring 3 total touchdowns. Unfortunately for the Spartans, they weren't able to stop Air Force's running game as they finished with 400 rushing yards and 6 rushing touchdowns on the night. The Spartans have lost their last 2 games, but head to Idaho to take on the Boise State Broncos in a Mountain West rivalry matchup. Now let's take a look at San Jose State's women's soccer, San Jose State's men's soccer, and San Jose State's water polo team to see how they did this weekend.
And that's it for our sports recap.
The 6% tuition hike over the next 5 years is still a hot topic among the Spartan family. How are parents reacting? Reporter Alexis Marquez put that question to some of them at Parents and Family Weekend.
It was just the 7th annual Parents and Family Weekend here at SJSU, where there were events such as the welcome, a brunch, a football game, and more.
I stopped some parents to ask how they feel about the tuition hike and if there are any concerns for their children.
Nobody likes that. Yeah. I think we understand why, but it's just, you know, it always ends up in somebody's lap, and it's ending up in the laps of these students who are here now, which include our kids, not just on this campus, but another Cal State campus. But it seems like a lot, especially if you're going to be paying for the next 4 years. It goes up quite a bit.
Being a single parent and not meeting that bracket that's necessary, it is, you know, a bit difficult, but we've had, you know, the discussion of her getting maybe a part-time job to where, you know, to cover her some of her necessities, you know, personal necessities. And then, of course, I would be the primary in taking care of her tuition.
I asked a full-time student who handles her own educational finances the same question to see how this is impacting her.
Time management is a big concern of mine. Having to balance school, work, paying off loans is very, very hard, especially when you're a full-time student. But overall, what worries me the most is if I could afford still studying at SJSU.
Parents and students are unhappy about this development as it is calling for a reevaluation of financial plans. In San Jose, I'm Alexis Marquez, Update News.
Looking for something fun to do this weekend? Carson has somebody in her calendar.
Here's what's coming up this week. On September 29th, Feast Mode. This event has more than 15 Bay Area food vendors all conveniently in one area. There will be live music and the event will run from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. On October 1st, Press Play, a video game themed concert. Their performance is at the Hammer Theater at 3 p.m. Scan the QR code for tickets. Students get in for $10 and general admission is $20. Also on October 1st, the 6th annual Little Italy Street Festival. The festival will have authentic Italian food, a car show, Italian musicians, and a wine garden. Entry is free and the event goes from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. On October 3rd, Plaza Azul is at the San Jose City Hall. Enjoy fresh fruit, veggies, Mexican candies, and locally made arts and crafts from the Berryessa Flea Market. The event runs from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And finally, on October 4th, the JMC orientation is back. There will be free pizza and lots of information about opportunities within the Journalism Mass Communications Department. Update News will be there. Come say hi. The event starts at 3 p.m. in Dwight Bentel Hall 134. That's all for this week.
And that does it for this week's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Make sure to follow us on our socials at SJSU Update News.